I'm now going to compare my very own media production to one that would be found on other King's Radio. So one of the main differences is the demographic area of the news types. Ours is purely based on Oldham, whereas theirs was on current news that was affecting Britain, worldwide, just current events. So that's one major difference that we've got, which is the demographic area in which the news was based on. So another difference was the number of news stories. In theirs they had two hard news stories, and one of these was based on the RBS owner not wanting to have his bonus due to the peer pressure of politicians and that, and just people in general. So that would attract I'd say people over 16, because people under 16 don't think they really understand, and I don't know, they might misinterpret it in a way. So I definitely think that story attracted people over 16 who obviously comprehend it. So we had two soft news stories, and one of these was based on uni fees. So obviously that's going to attract people between the ages of 16 to 25, because for 16-year-olds, 18-year-olds are thinking of going to uni and that, and then obviously 18-year-olds to 25 you're in uni, so some students might not be able to do an extra year because of the fees and that, and it's been when it was out, it was a pretty hot topic, and I can remember everyone getting really stressed out about it. And they had the final story was an off-the-wall story, and it was basically based on women being better parkers than men. I don't think that's actually a piece of news. I think it's more I don't know, a funny fact or something, that you'd say at the pub and that. So I don't know, when whomever goes into work and that, bring it up, it sort of softens the news, I'd say, from all the hard stuff of pardon me, the RBS owner not wanting to give his money back, uniforms, right? It's sort of I don't know, it softens it up. It's like a head drill in English, it just softens it up. So yeah. Whereas in ours, we had obviously our first news story, which was based on shops closing down in Oldham, so that affected everyone. The second story was a soft story, which is based on Dr. Kershaw's trek. So based on obviously Oldham again and Dr. Kershaw, so it attract people over a certain age. And then our final story was of the survivor, who attracted the younger urban people between 16 and 25, and all the stories, like I've been saying, are based purely and specifically on Oldham, because it's going to be on Oldham News Radio, so it sort of fits in. Another difference I found was the style of vox pops. When you look at our I'm going to use our main story, so it's pretty easy to see the comparisons. When you look at our hard stories vox pops, they was quite small and concise, but when you put them together, it was quite big. But they all shared the same ideas and that. But then when you went to the other one, which I think they was talking about a politician's view on the RBS manager, it was so much more concise than that, and it definitely shows you their view on it. But I think it was a bit too long, and it was yes, we know that you obviously have a view on it, but it was I don't know. I think if they got views of different people in different positions, so say maybe someone who's on working tax credits who can't even afford to go on holiday, and then maybe someone in middle class who's quite well off, or maybe someone who's just lost the job due to the recession and that, it'd have been a bit more interesting, and it'd have been based on the people instead of based on public figure. So I think that's a critique, and then you can compare ours, whereas ours was based on local people that are on the market, that everyone probably knows or probably sees them. So yeah. The presenting style was another one. Natasha presented that, and Natasha's about between the ages of 16 and 17, so obviously that's going to attract a younger audience. And she was her voice is naturally monotone, but it was clear and it was concise and it was easy to hear. Whereas on the other like on the actual Oldham Community Radio bulletin, it was like, I don't know, it was obviously a male, and he must have been over the age of 25 or something, and his voice was like really, really monotone. It was like, it didn't seem like he was excited about the news, and it was sort of the same thing in like Tasha's. It like she wasn't excited in the news, and I think with like, I know you've got to be like, it's like you've got to be impartial because it's news and that, but you could at least sound a bit excited, you know. Oh, here's Viper. You know, he's a young up and coming artist, which is good because when you think of the years, you just think of like the negative connotations, like stereotypes that there are. So I think she could have obviously umped up her energy on like certain stories and that. But overall, I think our news was pretty good. But I think that I think we should have chosen a more suitable time instead of 8 o'clock. Because like the news between 7, 8, 9, the news like the old clocks is always like the main news based on current events and that, and like sport and off and they're usually like a longer piece. But I think that if our news story would have been moved at 7:30 when it's like, I don't know, it's midway through the hour, so obviously you're going to do travel check and stuff like that. But it's sort of a wide part of the show. It's sort of like, I don't know, lightens it up. That's like lightens it up. Kind of effect. But yeah, apart from like the few problems we had here and there about like the jingle and that, and some of the stories not being as interesting as we thought they were, I think it would definitely suit Oldham Community Radio because it's based on the community.